humans make progress in knowledge or technology, they're standing on the shoulders of giants. That's not my quote. You may have heard of it before. What it refers to, of course, is that we use the existing knowledge and understanding and we build upon it. Teaching puts us on the shoulders of those giants. So, some truths about teaching. Well, we're all teachers. Humans love learning, and we love teaching as much as we love learning, I think. We're always learning. The basic premise of computer games, the reason computer games are so popular, and the ones that are most popular and you play for the longest are the ones that you keep learning within. And of course we love telling other people stuff we know. It's all teaching. So whether you stand in front of a class, you write a book, you write a paper, you create a how-to video on Tinternet, you're all teachers and we're all learners. The human brain is a thing. It's, the reason we've got such a big brain, and it does cause us a number of problems as a species. I'm not talking about problems on the internet, I'm talking about like childbirth, that sort of thing. But the reason we've evolved this huge brain is to help us survive. That's why it's there, no other great reason. So the brain is conditioned, so we are conditioned to learn and store knowledge. Brain gives us a little reward when we learn things. I think Phil Newton's example is, well, he uses when you're in a shop, you learn where the sugary food is. And you eat that sugary food, you feel good about it. Your brain's giving you a little reward, reminding you where you found that food. I use the example of berries in the wild. Right? Learning where you are, remembering where you are, remembering at what time of year those berries, that food source appears, and you remember that for the whole year. You go back, you find that food source again, you're going to survive. It's all learning. The sun's going to set at 4:25 p.m. The sun's not even getting very high today, is it?
No.
It was a bit wet this morning, it's cold, so we're trying to sneak in a climb. It's dry this afternoon, it's actually a lot nicer than I expected. But we're going to try and get a climb in on these natural cliffs down here somewhere. Keeping the grade very sensible today because it's chilly, and I don't know how wet this stuff is. So what's it like to be a teacher? Because funnily enough, when I got into science, I had a number of research jobs. I was tottering and gracefully on the shoulders of giants and not really progressing much further. So now my job's quite different. In fact, when I applied for this job, I only had a little bit of informal teaching experience. So one of the things I described, we're there. That's what we're going to do. One of the things I described was how I taught friends how to climb and how to climb safely. It's a good example because you've got a really vested interest in doing a good job, because you're literally going to put your life in their hands. One of the things I've realised about teaching is that, particularly when you're teaching something like medicine, is that students will do well despite me rather than because of me. There are so many different ways of learning: textbooks, the internet, teachers, lectures, practical stuff, that I'm not really making a big difference to the students that are getting it, the students that find this easy. So I find that the students, some students find anatomy difficult. If I can help those students understand and store the information more easily, then I feel useful. And that leads on to something else about teaching. You can't teach everyone. And you can't please everybody either. So when students do well in exams, particularly hard exams, when students do really well, you feel useful because you know they've put a lot of hard work into it. You feel like you've maybe like motivated, you've had a hand in making or helping them work hard. Also, when a student gets as interested in a topic as you are, you feel like you've done something useful. And when somebody's interested in a topic, learning gets so much easier. So another thing about teaching is that the best thing, of course, is you keep learning. Never stop learning. As soon as you stop learning, that's when you start getting bored. And if you're teaching good students, those students will teach you stuff. You will learn from the students as much as they learn. Well, maybe not as much as they learn from you. Teaching well takes a lot of work, a lot of effort. And it can be disappointing when students don't want to put in the same amount of work and effort you put in to get all that knowledge inside your head. But it's, you know, as learners, you've got to accept that learners, we're all learners, we want to take shortcuts. We would be like Neo in the Matrix if we could, right? Would we? How much rope's left? Oh, loads. As a teacher, I would say that I probably don't know as much as you think I do, and I don't know everything, and I do have to say I don't know sometimes. And as a teacher, I think it is important to say I don't know sometimes, and then you can sit with a student and see if the answer exists together, and then you've both done that as a learning exercise, and you've both gained from it, which I really like. Okay. Okay, you're on belay, climb when you're ready. Definitely don't feel as confident when I'm not climbing every week outdoors. When you're climbing trad a lot in this style, putting gear in as you go, if you climb regularly, you feel confident. In the winter, you know, it's a bit colder. You don't trust in yourself as much. You don't trust in the rock as much because you might come across a wet patch you haven't seen, a slippery patch, or freeze-thaw cycles might have caused rock to become loose, or something might come off in your hand. So it's always just a bit more nervy in the winter, which kind of like, kind of don't like at the time. Maybe we should spend the winter indoors like everybody else, but I like it out here. How's the gear?
Yeah, really good. That was fun like that.
Okay, cool. So yeah, that's disappointing when students don't work as hard as you know they could. And it's fair, because students tend to be studying a lot of different subjects, and not every subject is going to be interesting. And you always think your subject is the most interesting, that's why you're in it. The students always don't always feel like that. Oh no! How did you fall off?
Back on. Oh, got it.
Oh dear.
Oh. Yeah, I tried to hold on to the side of this, it's sloping that way.
Yeah.
The corner sort of slid off.
Yeah, thumb down, get a jam in there. Yeah.
Oh, hello.
Okay.
What?
Is that good?
It's alright.
It's alright. I'm cold because I sat on the cold rock. Kim's cold because she was stood there belaying me for ages. students can't take in everything that you say either. If you do a really good job of explaining something, they're not going to take it all in, they're not going to hold on to it forever. Some things they might do, but they're still going to have to work at it to get it. As much as we might hate the idea, to be a teacher you also have to be a bit of an entertainer, which doesn't always work with everybody's personalities, does it? Personalities. If you teach an audience large enough, there will always be some people in that audience who like what you do. Doesn't mean you did a good job. Teaching doesn't just happen in the classroom, it happens everywhere. And in fact, sometimes when we break out of a formal teaching structure, we can do a better job of teaching. Incidental learning, accidental learning. There's a fresh scar there. That fresh scar has been fresh for a little while. So teaching can be very rewarding, very worthwhile. It's something we want to do and we want to keep learning. So it's part of who we are, part of what we do. The final thing I'd say about teaching is that if we are teaching, we should make sure that we are passing on the correct information. We're passing on facts, we're passing on knowledge based in evidence, not in opinion. And I'm as guilty as anyone else for thinking I know something, thinking I understand something, and then teaching it wrongly. And I'm sorry for that, but I do try and fix that. I get better as time goes on. That's the other thing, isn't it? Is as long as you keep trying, keep fixing, don't assume you know everything, keep error checking, and teach other people to do that, then we're going to do a better job of learning and teaching, aren't we? Right, cafe. Oh, cafe, hot cup of coffee. See what cake they've got left. It's actually quite early, of course, isn't it? Because it feels like it's later just because it's getting darker. See you guys next week, maybe? Maybe?